All right, John. Now that you're a scientist, explain to us. No, I'm just joking. How are you doing, Mr. John?
Not bad. I have a week off. I mean, obviously not today, but I just picked up some random hours. Because the boss needed me to come in. But no, I have the whole week off. I'm actually, I don't want to say enjoying or like loving really Resident Evil 7, but it's very different from every other Resi game I've ever played. So I'm interested to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else have I been doing? I can't really think. Not too much since the last one. Finished Last of Us 2.
Okay, cool. We're going to talk about Last of Us 2 more later, so you can pocket that for now, but we will get back to that.
Okay, I was going to say, if you want, I can expound a bit on that. Other than that, no, just we had a good weekend, good week. It's been pretty solid. Can't complain.
Good. Mr. Josh?
Yeah. Recently played Dark Souls 3.
Again.
That up again, yeah.
Just to be clear, because I know people might be like,
yeah.
I thought this guy's Dark Souls man and he's never played 3.
Oh yeah, no. I recently picked it up on Steam and started playing on that. Episode 1 Racer.
Good stuff.
Yep. Even though I broke it. What the fuck else do I though? I don't really. Oh, yeah.
This is always a self-reflection period for everyone to think about how much they do with their lives every week.
Yeah. I spent like all day Saturday and like a good chunk of yesterday just watching Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds.
Hey, so that's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it's dope.
Good. You guys both like it. Nice.
Yeah, it's actually probably going. It's up there for me right now.
Good.
It's a really good series.
How does the OG series hold up?
It's still fine.
It's still good? Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, because like when you watch old Pokemon, it's kind of shitty. I guess Pokemon was never a great anime.
Well, I mean that filler arc with the Forgotten Kaiba-san, that was kind of bad.
Mm.
But otherwise, I know some people didn't really care too much for that filler Leviathan arc, but I thought it was fine. But
the thing with filler arcs is filler arcs are always filler arcs. It really just depends on how the person feels about filler arcs, right? Like, you have people who are like, hey, Dragon Ball Z, so much filler. But, like, some of the filler's good, like, especially when they go to learn how to drive. Yeah, that one's fucking good, so I don't know what the fuck people are tripping on. So, yeah. So it just depends on whether or not you give a shit. It's like, if you tell me that filler sucks and you watch One Piece, go fuck yourself. That's all I'm going to say right now.
It's not like the filler in, like the end of Naruto. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, so...
It's absolute shit.
So filler's filler. You like it or you don't. It's all just depending on how much you like that anime. So...
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, and then Mallory is stuck in New Braunfels, so... my week, were you done already? Or
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I've been, like, what I started to do is because there's been these weird things where, like, we'll be quiet for, like, 30 seconds while the person's trying to figure it out. To me, when it sounds like you've wrapped up, I'm going to probably just start trying to move on. And obviously, if there's something life-changing that you didn't get to say, you could still speak up, but I'm going to just start, moving it along a bit, because sometimes it's just really awkward hearing everyone for, like, 30 seconds, and I'm just kind of like, oh, God, this sounds so stupid. So alright, I like how I did that right after I said that. Everyone sounds stupid when they go on. But yeah, I played more Runeterra, of course. I'm almost ranked 2 on that, so that's good. Like golf scores, the lower the number, the better. So there's that. I got a new phone, OnePlus 7 Pro, so that's been going good. And that's pretty much been the whole week, just because work's been busy. Worked like 7 days in a row, so obviously not much time for anything else. So other than that, that's it. So yeah, new phone, and I've been playing the game that I've been enjoying, so there's not really much you can ask other than that. The largest Pizza Hut franchisee filed for bankruptcy, so that's going to be a lot of restaurants possibly closing. Bankruptcy is weird though, so it also could just be the dude saving himself. It's weird, because if he sells all his franchises, obviously, all his restaurants, they'll be fine. So we'll see where that goes. Pizza Hut sucks anyway, so fuck Pizza Hut. If you like it, you might want to get checked for coronavirus, because you ain't got no taste. So there is that. Seth Rogen, of course, speaking of not having taste, Seth Rogen's going to be directing the new TMNT movie, so we'll see how that goes. I'm not really hopeful because I think her weed isn't really gonna. It could work with TMNT, but like I just don't see it being a thing.
Imagine the Ninja Turtles being.
I was gonna say, spoiler: all they're gonna do is just sit around and smoke.
Yeah, I mean, like Michelangelo already fulfills that stereotype of the weed man, so I mean, they already have one. They would just have to convince the rest of them to be stupid, also. So, yep.
Raphael seems so straight-laced.
What's up?
I was just saying, Raphael always seems so like straight-laced.
Oh yeah.
Straight-laced? What do you mean, Leonardo?
Yeah, well, yeah, Leonardo's the one that's straight-laced. Yes. Raphael is the edgelord.
Watch the story be that they try to get Splinter to stop doing opium and to smoke the ganja instead.
I mean, that could be a thing. Splinter does love the opium, so it's really hard for him to get off of that.
Is that a thing? Really?
Huh?
Is that really a thing?
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so yeah, no, that's not confirmed. Just assumed. Alrighty, so that's it for the non-gaming news. Before we get into it, Josh, where can everybody find your stuff on the internets?
Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, just Shiro Joestar, YouTube, ShiroPlay5.
All right, almost on that unified branding.
Yeah,
almost there. Mr. John?
Just IG right now because I'm trying to stay away from Twitter because, but underscore Evil Dead Guy.
There you go, underscore Evil Dead Guy, and me at Zito Rocker at all the places, as well as SlimAsianEntertainment.com and DisconnectedCast.com, which is probably the most... Anyone's listening, that's probably how that goes. I was checking our metrics. It's actually been pretty good. A majority of our listeners marked as non-binary, I noticed. That's an interesting tidbit. So there's that. That's a random thing I discovered while looking at our statistics more in depth. So yeah.
That's cool.
NBs.
Yep. So before we get into the stuff that I curated, Josh, what's been going on in the fighting game community over the last couple of weeks leading up to EVO?
Too much to keep track of.
So let's highlight it then.
Fuck. Where to begin?
I guess just in as close to timeline order as possible, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think off the top of my head, I think the first thing that happened was the Mike Z thing.
Okay, so we'll start from
probably, yeah. So I forget how long ago, but he started getting attention because he made that really, like, in poor taste joke about George Floyd, which was bad. And then maybe like a couple of weeks after, an Arrow artist, Bunny, shared like a conversation that she had with Mike Z. I think it was through Twitter, and it was either Twitter or Discord, and it was like super cringy. So of course that gives more negative attention, and yeah, so that kind of sucks. And
for those who don't know who Mike Z, of course, Skullgirls, Indivisible, Lab Zero.
Yeah, yeah, so that sucks. Of course, the Skullgirls community pretty much saying, like, hey, he doesn't speak for everybody.
Which is true.
But of course you have those people that are trying to defend Mike Z, just like, oh, yeah, he's just kind of like that, and that just kind of sucks.
Yeah, apparently some staff came up about it too, and were like, yeah, Mike Z has made me uncomfortable due to racist shit he said before.
Yeah.
In regards to the George Floyd thing. Apparently he's not a stranger to racial humor in the workplace. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that sucks. And then after that, it has been string upon string of, like, sexual allegations and pedophilia among the FGC. A good chunk of it being Smash players.
Yeah, as long as we didn't have enough to shit on them already as a joke.
It actually got pretty bad. Like, one of the people that came out, he actually was... There was a lot of raise for concern, because I think they were exhibiting a lot of thoughts of suicide, so that kind of sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mr. Wizard, someone came forward about how creepy Mr. Wizard has been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so a lot of the commentary staff decided to pull out of EVO. A lot of
pretty
companies,
much the name brands, like when it comes to players, companies, otherwise, yeah.
Esports teams, like I know, like I think Panda Global backed out. I think Beast Coast backed out. NetherRealm Studios backed out. They weren't gonna have MK11 for EVO Online. So,
with that being the case, then, does it seem like this is going to kind of expose who's hurting for money or attention at this point, if they're still going to participate even after all this?
I don't even know if EVO's still
happening.
I think they may have canceled EVO entirely this year.
Okay, like literally, guys, not Twitter canceled where they say that about somebody and they're fine. Canceled as in actually canceled. For those who know, the actual way the word is normally used.
I know Mr. Wizard's no longer the CEO for EVO. It's under new management. But I mean, considering how EVO was kind of already going in a bad direction even before all this shit.
This just was the nail in the coffin almost.
Probably.
I guess we'll have to see. Josh brought it up, that interesting point that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering is, come next year, is there even going to be an EVO anymore?
Right.
You know, we have other stuff that obviously has its fair shares of controversy, like the one in Florida, the weird like wrestling.
Oh, CEO.
Yeah. So you have other ones, alternatives, but obviously EVO is like the Super Bowl of fucking fighting games. So it was a big deal for a while, and it's interesting to see all these allegations just kind of pour out almost all at once. It's obviously once someone comes forward, that usually gives other victims the strength to speak up as well, now that they know that they're not the only one.
Yeah.
So.
I think also to help give them validity as well, like, you know, hey, so-and-so says this about this person. If you really have any doubts, here's my experience.
Yeah.
Here's my experience with another person, etc. I mean, I know it's been out there that Mr. Wizard's just kind of a POS.
Right.
Last year there was some shit. I know I was talking to you about it. One, they let Infiltration back, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's already a fucking barrel and a half of bees, because Infiltration obviously had a whole bad situation with that.
Yeah. Of course, Mr. Wizard kind of telling one Tekken player, I forget who it was, they were like on video telling them to like be quiet during like the main event,
which is when everyone should be getting hyped.
Yeah, you know, or otherwise you would kick them out. Apparently, there were also a lot of sexual harassment going on during the after party that was sponsored by Red Bull. A lot of like unwanted touching and hitting on.
Of course.
Yeah.
The Mr. Wizard kind of, I forgot if you made this joke already, but he reminds me of Dave Hankin, his personality.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Hankin,
yeah.
CEO of San Japan. Oh, ex-CEO, I guess.
Yeah.
Quote-unquote ex-CEO behind, at least in the forefront ex-CEO.
Yeah, because if you try to like talk back to him and be like, don't you know who I am? I can get you ejected from this building.
I made the third biggest con in Texas. Or whatever the rank he is. I know at one point Akon was one. I think Akon I thought was one of the bigger ones at one point.
Yeah, I know when I started going to anime conventions, Akon was the Texas con.
The Texas one. Yeah.
I have no idea now
where it stands. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea. I haven't been to a Texas con outside of San Japan.
What in Austin? There's what Matsuri? Wait, is it Matsuri?
I think Austin has like two.
Okay.
I think it's got Ushicon and Ikkicon.
Oh, Ikkicon. Okay.
Yeah, because I know it used to be Ushicon, then I think they went under for a bit, and then Ikkicon took over, but I think Ushicon was able to come back.
Is that Anime Matsuri the creepy one?
Anime Matsuri is the one that's owned by that sexual predator dude.
Yeah.
I've been to Anime Matsuri once.
The few people I know that have all had bad, like not great experiences.
It was shit when I went there.
Mm-hmm. I know that there was this K-pop group, A-Pink. They're one of the bigger ones, and they appeared at Anime Matsuri. And apparently, even though my friend did have fun, he said it was handled like really poorly. Like, if there were any crazy people, there was like almost no security, so anyone could have just walked up to them when they're whatever. It was just very unprofessional and very budget showing in the sense of not being like multi-million-dollar con or anything like that. Not like Dragon Con or something like that. So.
Right. I know Houston used to have Onicon. I don't know if that's still around. Then I think Dallas used to have a second one. I think, but I know Acon's usually the biggest one. Those are the main anime conventions I can think of in Texas.
Yeah.
It's probably changed.
There you go, guys. EVO canceled, probably, and those are the anime Texas anime cons you should either look out or avoid for. So there you go. There you go. Check them out or don't, depending on what we just said about them. Moving on, Ubisoft. Oh yeah, listen, that's pretty much the major stuff about obviously there's a lot of it, but that's pretty much.
I mean, there's so much. It's so hard for me to keep track of.
But that's like the super major headlines. Basically.
Yeah, because they pretty much stated that like 50 people have come forward and
a bunch of. If you don't probably watch Smash shit, you have no idea who those people are probably.
Yeah, I think that is the most concerning is that a lot of them are from the Smash community.
It's a little ironic.
Yeah, which really
playing
sucks.
a kids game.
Yeah,
that's what happens when adults play kids games. Just kidding. But it can happen when adults play kids games. It's like the Boy Scouts. Not everyone got molested, but it's possible. Mm-hmm. It's very possible. Mm-hmm. Ubisoft announcing they're going to get in the Battle Royale game, and it's Ubisoft, so that's probably going to be trash, called Hyperscape. So, that's it. Hyperscape.
I'm surprised they didn't just take one of their existing franchises.
I know, make like an Assassin's Creed Battle Royale. Where you're
or like
all
Ghost Recon or Rainbow Six.
Anything, really.
Yeah.
They have a lot of franchises.
See, but that'd be kind of fun, though. What's this one about?
What?
We'll have to see. It looks like it's just like PUBG. Your military man
original.
In a field killing other military men.
It's
very in a field. It's
frying pan.
Huh?
Is that Ubi changing it up? Get a coffee pot instead of a frying pan.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what they're doing right now. And I mean, as if anyone gives a fuck, they're giving away Watch Dogs 2 for free doing some Ubisoft. I don't fucking care about that. All right. A weird thing that came up this week is Crash Bandicoot 4 kind of... it's weird. So Jim and a few other... I don't know if Jason Schreier said anything, but Jim and a couple other journalists pointed out that Crash Bandicoot 4 is going to be plagued with microtransactions.
Why?
Yeah. To which the devs allege that that's not true. Which is weird because Jim never usually pulls the trigger until he has some pretty definitive proof. Oh. So we'll have to see where that goes from there. But like within hours of Jim's video dropping, probably within 8 hours of Jim's video dropping, the devs working on Crash Bandicoot 4 claim that that's not true. Now, here's what I think is going to happen. There are going to be microtransactions, but like Ubisoft and Trackmania, where they redefine what a season pass is, according to Ubisoft, despite a season pass being a roadmap of content released in post of the game, and that's what Trackmania is going to have, that's not a season pass, though. Yeah. It's just a series of content that's going to come out in a roadmap form after the game already comes out. So even though it's the exact same definition as a roadmap, as a season pass, it isn't a season pass, though. And I feel like that's what Crash is going to do with these microtransactions if they appear in it. They also could be like scared of eating crow, so they may take them out wholesale and be like, oh shit, we wanted to see what people were going to say. I don't know how companies still don't understand this, but people aren't thrilled about it. Let's take it out. Or they are going to appear in the game. It's going to be a Borderlands 3 situation where it's just cosmetic, so it's not really microtransactions twisting your arm because you don't need to get it. Jim obviously has a long-running series of videos talking about how the problem with optional content is there's people with completionist mentalities, people with OCD, who are mentally forced to get this shit. So, just because you don't have a gambling problem doesn't mean nobody has a gambling problem. And that's the issue with these kind of transactions. Mm-hmm. You have a bunch of shitty people, of course. The main defense is loot box shit. People, of course, going Overwatch. Well, it's just optional. For some people, it really isn't. And the fact that every event, they give you that one free one. They give you that bump of coke to, try to see if they can get you back on the wagon. That's really what they're doing. People are going to call that hyperbolic. People are going to, like always, people calling me an alarmist all the time. But let's just face it, that's what it is. Things really can snowball from something like that. If you've quit soda for years, or if you've quit greasy foods for years, and I just kind of wave that slice of your favorite food in front of you, you may not give in, but you may. And that could have obviously been avoided if that just wasn't a thing in it at all. Speaking of loot boxes, of course, the Lords in the UK, because they still have Lords over there, I don't know how high of a rank that is, but apparently it's pretty high, because they called for immediate disclosure and definition of loot boxes as gambling. So they were already basically like tired of this volleyball back and forth that's been going along in the legal system, and they're basically forcing the hand of UK gaming. They're basically their ESRB. I guess what are they under PEGI? I think Europe's under PEGI. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So with that being the case, they're basically being like, now, like, we're not fucking around anymore. Mark it as gambling. Any games with loot boxes, gambling. Period. That has to be on the label and the explicit
I mean, it really
like,
should
marking.
be.
And should be, yeah.
Yeah.
Laura Kate Dale pointed out that even though this was supposed to be a thing that was slowly supposed to roll out in general, even via the ESRB, what a lot of companies are doing to get around it is putting it on an external sticker on the wrapper that can easily just be removed, so that way it's gone all of a sudden.
So if you buy it pre-owned, guess what?
Yep, it's not marked at all. So,
and then it's up to the business to...
Which, obviously,
put it
people
on
like
there.
GameStop and just get fucked in the ass. They don't care.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They're trying to really get around it as much as possible. Which is funny, because companies like Activision Blizzard and everyone that has this kind of crap in their games, EA especially is known as the figurehead of this, swear to God it's not gambling. Yet, like Jim points out, when you put it next to a slot machine, it's essentially the same mechanics. Mm-hmm. In NBA 2K20, the last one, the most recent one rather, they just straight up have a slot machine.
Yeah.
You buy to get the slot machine to get a chance for sportsman points or whatever the fuck you get out of that thing. It's like, it's weird. I get it. Obviously, it's not too weird from a business standpoint, but it's hilarious how much they're willing to just fucking not look at the car crash happening because they're just like, but it's not really gambling, though. And then the court will immediately list exactly how it is gambling. And they're just like, that's an opinion. And it's kind of like, but no, it's not.
We find these features to be fun and harmless.
Yep. Speaking of not harmless, even though we just said it was harmless, Nintendo president, I forgot the fuck his name is. I don't want to butcher it, so I'm not going to try to remember it from the top of my head. I don't know if it's Bowser, because that's like the America one I want to say, but like the Japanese, like the actual Nintendo head, did apologize for Joy-Con drift. My problem with that, though, is when you issue an apology like that, you should probably have an actual solution ready to go. Yeah. But instead, he said, yo, Joy-Con drift sucks. Even in the 3 years we've been making this thing, it still happens to even the new consoles. We're sorry, we're trying to fix it. Mm-hmm. That's not a very good statement in my opinion. It's from the heart, and I would believe that Nintendo's president of anyone would probably be actually sorry. But unless you were going to fix it, I don't think it was a necessary statement. Because everyone knows it's bad, and everyone knows that that Nintendo's not happy about it.
They should try to do what Microsoft did back when
with the
red
rings, yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up, anytime it happens, send it in for a free repair.
Right.
Yep.
Either free repair, or if they don't know how to repair it, just be like, here's another set of Joy-Cons. Oh, those are fucked up too? Okay, bring them back.
Apparently they have some similar process to that, but the thing that people hate is apparently the process takes 3 to 6 weeks to happen.
I bet.
So you're kind of like,
I mean, you got
up shit creek.
I would assume you have to ship that shit overseas.
Exactly. So like for me, example, I'm lucky and have 2 Switches because I'm privileged, but some people don't have that luxury, right? So I could send my Joy-Cons out on my one hooked up to my TV 24/7 and just use my light, data transfer temporarily till the other one goes back. Or not, but not everybody, some people just have one Switch and that's all they're going to have. So when they get Joy-Con drift, it's like, so many people end up buying the fucking hella overpriced $80 controllers. Like, how are you going to cost more than a DualShock 4 or an Xbox One controller, which is much more substantial of an actual thing than these 2 plastic fucking things that get drift?
And cost the same amount, too. Like, those are also like $80.
Yeah.
Joy-Cons.
Well, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Joy-Cons cost more, actually. The average PS5 controller is $64.99.
Yeah. This is like the Joy-Cons and both the Pro controller are both like $80.
Yes.
It's fucking ridiculous.
The Xbox and PlayStation controllers are $64.99.
Yeah. I really wish Nintendo would lower the price
It's
on
really
those
fucked
controllers.
because it's a lot less. It's less electronics and it's less plastic than the other ones. There's no excuse.
Yeah.
Maybe the fucking motion control shit costs more maybe than what's in the... Wait, no, but the PlayStation and the Xbox both have... Oh, no, the Xbox doesn't anymore.
Yeah, I don't know about
the PlayStation has that fucking 6-axis shit or whatever the fuck that no one cares about. But it's there.
Yeah.
So...
It exists.
I'd be hard-pressed, until dawn where it fucks up and doesn't work properly and you get seen by the killer because...
that's very annoying.
Your controller literally fucks you.
And the controller's vibrating when that happens, too. So
but even without it vibrating, if someone turned off the vibrate, the 6-axis is so off...
Yeah.
Sync that it'll sometimes just say you're moving anyways.
Just turn the vibration off and then just leave it on the table.
Which people have done, and it still catches the kill. That's how fucked up the 6-axis motion is.
Fun.
So that's why PlayStation isn't usually implemented. I think the only game other than Until Dawn I did that heavily implemented it, because it was like a launch title, was Infamous Second Son.
I remember seeing where you had to use it like a spray paint can.
It's cool. The LED changed to whatever color spray paint you were using, and you pretended to shake it up and spray, which is cool. But let's face it, gimmick stuff like that is only cool for so long. There are some Switch games, of course, that have like left my mind because I'm trying to use them as an example.
Oh, didn't the Order also do that too? Where if you move the controller,
look at the fucking gun!
Yeah,
which was like 50% of the game is looking at guns.
Pretty much, yeah. Look how detailed this gun is in 30 FPS.
Yeah. Oh, since we brought up NBA 2K, so the fear that we talked about is starting to roll out because I forgot if we talked about this last time. Tell me if we did, but for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, NBA 2K21 will cost $70 on that thing. So, once they announced this, of course, it was met with much backlash, to which a lot of the industry people, of course, are like, hey man, games are just getting fucking expensive, man. Games are fucking getting expensive to release, despite the fact that we don't really do physical versions anymore, and despite the fact that discs just download shit. So, yeah, games are getting expensive, man. That was actually their actual explanation, is that it's because the cost is going up. Mm-hmm. I think if, like, it was at least a complete game finally and they got rid of this DLC bullshit and you're like, alright, games cost $10 more now, but now there's no more roadmap, there's no more whatever, it comes out complete. I'd be like, I guess. Shit ain't gonna... But even then, it's still fucked up if you think about it, because games shouldn't even be $60 right now. In turn, Josh, then John, what do you guys think for AAA games? Let's, like, you know, the pretty graphics and the studio costs and everything. What do you think is a fair price that you wouldn't mind paying for a AAA title? Let's say indie games are like $20, so AAA games should cost... What do you think?
I mean,
what's fair?
Yeah, right now being at like 60, I still feel kind of.
Yeah. So what would you probably lower? What do you think is a fair lower?
I would put like 40 or 50 right now.
Okay, John.
Oh, he's dead.
Oh, good job. Oh,
sorry, I was on mute. I can stomach paying like 60, 65 right now because I've gotten used to it. I guess that's 70. Is that the new standard for the next gen? Like,
well, no, but that's what people are worried about.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. I don't know, man. It's just the same trend, like with roadmap gaming. You know, we like this, they're just going to increase it. You know, next gen we're going to be paying $80, $85 for the standard edition of the game, and this is the standard edition, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay, so like $110 for the fucking extra DLC.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like a lot of games don't even feel like they're worth $60.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel
that's the
like
thing that sucks.
Yeah, like The Order, for example, felt like a $20 game.
Not even.
Until
like
Dawn, it was good. Like, I don't know.
You know, Until Dawn is good, but I probably wouldn't give it 60.
Yeah.
Something like The Witcher, I would probably argue is a bit deserving.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of content.
Yeah, especially now that all the versions since the Season Pass came out already include the Season Pass for $50. Usually $50 for everything. To me, that's fair.
Yeah.
Even 60 for everything is fair.
Let me ask you guys something. So you mentioned Until Dawn, right? So I wanted to play that for the longest time, and I have it now, and I've started it. But the point is, I was waffling, you know, back and forth.
Oh, you're cutting out.
You broke out a lot, man.
Yeah, you broke out a lot. Can you switch it? Because sometimes the Samsung Buds do that. Can you switch to like speakerphone and see if that works better, maybe?
Oh yeah. All right, cool.
We'll at least try that.
Mute, then I'll come.
Yeah. So we'll give John a second to switch over because the Buds are known for like sounding good when they work, like sounding fine when they work, but they can break up quite a bit, especially if like someone else's Bluetooth is walking by or something.
Okay, can you hear me?
That sounds better. I think we'll see if it cuts out, but that sounds better.
Okay, yeah, I just went to straight phone here.
That sounds better.
Sorry. So like with Until Dawn, so starting over with Until Dawn, you know, I was waffling for to play it or buy it rather. And eventually it was free on Plus. Mm-hmm. So my question was going to be, you know, a lot of these AAA titles, do you guys think it's better to sometimes just wait till it becomes free? And a lot of them become free anyway, so like, what's the point of buying them, right off the bat?
Right. So I would say my piece on that is, especially with AAA titles, that's almost inevitably true. I feel like most AAA titles aren't even worth buying at launch at all. And I think that's fair. I think even waiting for it to be discounted, because usually within 6 months, some games will hit like a $40, $30 version sale normally. So I would say that it's always good to wait. The only time, of course, is if you're just really raring out there to get some game, like Cyberpunk, for example. Mm-hmm. That's a game where I feel like a lot of people are going to buy it at launch, and I can almost like say fine. But for people who force themselves to buy every Call of Duty, for people who force themselves to buy some piece of shit like Overwatch 2 at launch, I feel like you can probably cool it and just wait.
I would think if you're the type of person that like all you do is play Call of Duty, it's fine.
Yeah,
whatever.
If you're that
if that's you just buy every Call of Duty game every year, that's cool. I think it personally, it really goes with your budget and probably how, because at the end of the day, it is your own money and you can spend it how you want.
Right.
Of course, I would argue that if there's a game and someone's asking me like, "Oh, are you going to pick it up?" and if it doesn't catch my interest, I'm going to be like, nah, I personally don't want to pay $60 for that game. If it's on sale and I have money to spare, sure, maybe.
So Josh doesn't buy many games at launch, especially AAA.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: Cyberpunk 2077, whenever the fuck that decides to drop,
right?
Is that a game you're probably going to pick up at launch?
It was at first. Now I don't know.
Not sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you're not the only one. Pat, actually, big CD Projekt fan. Pat's on the same boat.
Yeah.
Pat was hyped like 5 years ago, and now as more stuff kind of gets talked about, and it's taking so goddamn long, and all these other nice games are coming out, the hype is kind of waning. Obviously, from a sales perspective, I'm sure it's going to do gangbuster numbers when it comes out, because it is a very anticipated game. But I do know several people who are starting to kind of just be like, look, man, I love Blade Runner 2, but Blade Runner as well, but I'm just kind of getting really tired of waiting. Yeah. Because Pat predicts, we'll see, but Pat predicts that September date's going to miss, and it's going to get leaked into next year.
It's a possibility. Like with some games, I see myself like jumping on for launch. I mean, like Persona 5.
You did, yeah.
Granted, I didn't jump for Royale because my mentality was I already played the base game.
Yeah, it's harder to justify spending another 50. Was it 50?
Yeah, like 60.
60. Oh, it was like basically the same price again.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, I ordered it.
It's like I get it.
I'm still waiting for it to come in, but I paid like 40 something for it.
Fair.
So
for basically buying the game again with a little more stuff.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But with a franchise like Persona, like if they were to do like a Persona 6, I would probably try to get that on launch.
And that's the thing. I think when games do stuff like that, where they do have like the enhanced edition or whatever, I feel like 40 should be a strict rule. If you're going to sell the same game again with a little bit more, I think $40 should be like the benchmark, like stopping point. I think charging $60 again for the same game, even if it has 20% more content or whatever the fuck, I think it's bullshit to charge launch price all over again.
Yeah, it is a bit like...
Like, that's why I think that Witcher dropping the Game of the Year edition to $50 as a standard price, and you can usually find it on a $30 or $40 sale normally, I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know a lot of Nintendo games I don't see myself buying on launch.
It's hard because, also, even if you wait... and
they rarely go on sale.
Back to John's question, Nintendo games usually never diminish value, usually.
Yeah.
In fact, they usually go up, especially for physical editions. Look at fucking trying to buy Pokemon games. God damn, buying Emerald or some shit like that? Sometimes that's going to cost you more.
Yeah, Black and White 2. I never picked those up, and I look at the prices
still, like,
for how much.
Price.
Yeah, or higher. Like
Alright, you guys bullshit. I'm going to go use the restroom.
Okay.
You guys do your thing.
Sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's definitely the shitty thing, especially with Nintendo games, is that they don't drop in value, and physical copies do get higher.
Why is that, Josh? Does Nintendo intentionally just make a short of how much they produce?
They don't produce as much as a lot of the bigger. I don't want to say bigger, but like Sony and Microsoft, they pump out a whole bunch of copies. Nintendo doesn't really seem to do that. So physical copies are sometimes just expensive, just because people will see them as like collector's items almost. You can only hope that they're going
from a business standpoint.
Yeah, like you can only really hope that they're gonna, make like a greatest hits or whatever. Like I remember trying to find Ocarina of Time for the 3DS, and a physical copy of that game was really expensive. But then they released their, greatest hits version or whatever, and prices went down.
That was $20 on launch. So
no, exactly, and that's how I ended up getting it, was through that when they reprinted it. So with
I wonder. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with Nintendo, it seems you just kind of have to wait for that hopeful reprint, because they're not like Sony, where it'll be a free game of the month, or Xbox, same thing, or they'll put it on the Game Pass.
So this is, I thought of two examples. Go ahead, John.
I was just gonna say, I get it. We were talking about how they create scarcity with their physical products. And I get, when they drive up the price on that, because it can be hard to retain an original copy.
Right.
But, how can they still justify charging that price for digital content?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird argument. A lot of people argue that, because
there's no overhead, really.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So in any game at all, whether it's Final Fantasy VII Remake, Persona 5, or anything, when it's a digital version, it should not cost as much as something that comes with a bit of plastic and a disc.
Yeah.
The second you go digital, that should probably start at maybe $50 or less. There has to be some discount for not getting anything other than the game. Because when I've always found that fucked when I preload a game, like when I preload Death Stranding or whatever, it's like $59.99. I'm like, man, I could also get the physical version, although it'd be a pain in the ass to have to fucking switch out the discs every time.
Yeah.
It's like, buying digital, I still should get that cost of not having them press a disc and fucking make a case and print the cover and shit. That would probably save some money if they made no physical versions at all. But
and then the physical versions are just so lacking nowadays. You don't get
no manual.
You don't get a nice instruction manual with some cool art inside.
Nope.
It's
fucked.
You don't even get a sheet of paper anymore. Just a plastic case.
So I found an example of a game that was overprinted to hell, and then a really rare game that's still worth a shitload. Years ago, when they were still selling OG Xbox games, I saw Guilty Gear for OG Xbox at GameStop, and holy fuck, that shit was going for $90-something.
Oh, the Sharp Reload?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
fucking MVC2, the original, was $78.99.
Yep. Yeah. Yet, was Halo 3 the one that came with that helmet in the limited edition?
Yes, it is.
I saw a mountain of Halo 3 limited editions 10 years after it came out at a fucking Macy's, and that shit was going for $10.
Yeah.
And I was just like, lol, value of nothing, apparently. I was just like, holy god, there's just a fucking stack of Halo 3 limited editions. Nobody cares. Everyone's just walking by it to get to the fucking baby clothes and shit. Nobody gives a shit. They were just like, please, someone take it. Yeah. Someone steal it, please. I was just like, man, talk about they must have overprinted that collector's edition so fucking much. In fact, just to see that point, let me go on eBay right now. I'm curious how much a Halo 3 limited edition goes for or not. Does it go for anything because of the fact that it was so goddamn overprinted, or is it actually as worthless as it was at Macy's?
I looked this up not too long ago, maybe about 2 years ago, and between $200 and $300. That's what eBay was asking.
I'm assuming sealed, probably.
No, just the helmet, and sometimes it didn't even have the dust slit.
Jeez.
So it's one of those things that piecemeal people up the value. Yeah, because it looks like just to get the steelbook in the game, it's $13 on average. But I guess to get the helmet and shit, since that's probably harder to find.
Helmet.
In fact, I'm not even seeing any listings with the helmet. It's all just the fucking game. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here's a complete one, the Japanese print for $200.
Wow.
So, yeah. But yeah, so it does look like, despite the fact that I found that memery over there, it does look like, from a collector standpoint, some people are still looking for it. Ew, Halo 5, disgusting. Alright, so, Death Stranding PC version came out. Apparently it's really good. The funny thing for me is I'm waiting for some fucking crazy mods for Death Stranding. That shit's got it. I'm waiting for some funny shit to come out for that. So we'll see, but as of right now, not really anything.
I can't wait for 7 Remake to go on PC.
Oh, fuck, dude, that's going to be so... Oh, man, there are going to be some lewd mods for that, too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, la, la. Oh, the showrunners for Westworld are apparently working on a Fallout show. We don't know if it's going to be on HBO or whatever program or whatever, but one would assume it's going to get tied to some sort of service like that. So we'll see.
Right.
But you know what? Even though Westworld season 2 sucked fucking shit, season 1 was good. So maybe at least one season of Fallout show will be good. We'll see. I think that at least Fallout could work.
Watch the actors get distorted when they get into a power suit armor.
That'd be great if they just if they just went through the ground.
Yeah,
I would actually
the true Fallout experience.
Yeah, I would actually. I'd have more interest in watching a hilarious recreation of how Bethesda games actually work than some serious show.
Yeah,
so we'll see how that goes. Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, but Todd has to be 5'10" in every episode.
Oh yeah. Todd's gonna God Howard's actually gonna be in the fucking game.
Jeez.
And he's gonna be like, he's gonna be the 6'5" man, which will be great. I think that's one of the funniest of all the lies he's said. That's the funniest one where he's like, marks himself on his profile as 5'10", probably on his Tinder and shit. But yet he's with Kojima, who's marked as 5'7", and he's like 4 inches shorter than Kojima. I know some people say that it's the angle of the photo, but what I like to say is fuck yourself. Don't try to ruin this for me.
I mean, he even looks kind of short when he's on stage.
Yeah, he does, yeah. And if you notice in a lot of those interviews and conferences, he's always sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
Or standing near nobody. He doesn't get away from me! No one look at me. Horizon Zero Dawn given a release date for PC port August 7th. So, for you PC players that have been waiting to play the good game that is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, I already saw the little pre-order message thing on Steam.
So do you think Horizon Zero Dawn 2 will launch on PC because it's come out, or do you think it's going to be like that delay again?
I don't know. I think... I would argue if Sony wants to do it smart, they'll...
The Xbox way, which is just do it at launch?
Yeah, they'll leave it exclusive, and then they'll be like, you can have it on PC later. Because... Yeah, I don't know. Demon's Souls and Horizon, like, that's...
Ignore her.
That's reasons for me to buy a PS5. I know it doesn't look like the greatest console, but... Ooh.
I was saying, by the way, it's not like Mallory showed up and I said ignore her. It's actually the Google Assistant went off in the background, so just so everyone doesn't think that like, Mallory showed up and I'm like, ignore her! Like, she doesn't think that. No, that's not what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Sam's Show getting their first guest character. I believe it's the first. There's no guest character right now, right, as far as you know in the launch version? They're getting their first one. Does anyone know who it is?
No, I haven't been paying attention.
It's the Warden from For Honor, which, if you think about it, that can work. He's a sword man. You see him on the covers of For Honor with his cool, I'm
that's a
Norwegian man, so yeah.
Was that Ubisoft? Or?
Yes. Yeah. Ubisoft is letting them use the Warden in their upcoming, so he's going to be the first guest character for Sam's Show, so... And I think getting in there, rubbing elbows with people more than just themselves.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, because I've been a big King of Fighters fan for forever, and they don't usually rub elbows with anybody. Because, other than, like, Capcom back in the day and whoever else, but, like...
Well, they did put Holomaru in Soul Calibur.
Yeah. Which is still more recent than when I was playing King of Fighters 97, and that was, like, the newest game. So, yeah, they're actually getting out there now, so, it's nice to see them actually collabing with those crossovers and everything. So there's that. Pat made an interesting point. So we talked about the Pokemon MOBA and all that weird shit and stuff like that. Here's the interesting thing. Pat has a theory that the reason they're doing it, not Pat from Game Theory, but Pat from Gus the Super Beast has a theory that they're doing it because Tencent owns League of Legends, or Riot that owns League of Legends. Mm-hmm. Pokemon's going to be the kiddie segue to get kids to eventually become toxic fucks in League.
No.
So, like, that could be a thing. Because you have what looks like a really dumbed down... For anyone who's seen stuff from the Pokemon MOBA, it looks like a really simplified, dumbed down version. Not just because it's going to be on the phone and it's just going to be tap controls, probably. Yeah. But because, for kids, let's face it, even though we like Pokemon, their target audience is still children. And because of that... You are going to have those kids who are either going to grow and develop into wanting something more, or maybe for people like us, where maybe you've never, not like our age, that have never played a MOBA before, but this might draw you into that, and you're kind of like, so this is what League's about, huh? Well, Pokemon like Unite was okay, but it's a little too simple. Let me see what League's about. Mm-hmm. It makes sense to want to, A, expand Pokemon into everything, so obviously there's that. Yeah. But B, the fact that Tencent's working on this, and owns League of Legends does seem like a little like starter drug now and like gateway shit to try it out. So it's an interesting theory. We'll see. Avalanche Software, the people who I forgot what game they made, but they're working on a open world Harry Potter RPG. Interesting. From the details of it, it's going to be semi-unique story. Some of the stuff harkening to like existing Harry Potter stuff. Not sure if you're going to play as an avatar or if you're going to play as the known cast and go around and stuff like that. The only thing, without all this being unclear, the only thing they did make clear is that J.K. Rowling has absolutely minimal involvement in the game. So they do assure you that even if you hate J.K. Rowling, the game will be worth playing. So,
but she'll probably still get some money out of it, though.
Oh, she'll probably get some money out of it, but she didn't really help with it. She's not going to have her weird BBC gangbang fantasies in the game or anything like that. So, she's not going to be, killing trans people in the game, which is probably what she would do if she was involved in the game.
She'd be trying to convert all of them.
The good thing is, she's not really involved in it. So, the game should be fine. So, we'll see. What the fuck else did they work on? Now I am actually curious, because I remember recognizing the game, and then now I can't remember. Oh, Disney Infinity! That's the game that they worked on. So, we'll see. They don't really have much. They also did Tackling the Power of Juju. That fucking game was so weird.
That was, PS2?
Some shit. Like, it was old. Yeah, like PS2 OG Xbox era. So, yeah. Fuck off. I feel like I'm missing a story here. John, have you ever bought an expensive resale game that you were just like, I need to own this?
Not that I can think. Like, hold on. Can you say that again? I'm sure. I'm sorry.
Have you ever bought a game that you didn't get or a game that you wanted to own? Say you didn't buy, just an example. You didn't buy Halo 2 at launch, and then now Halo 2 is worth a lot, and now you bought it when it's like inflated in cost.
Oh, like spend way more than I should have?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think
Not
so.
that you can think of. Yeah, I think that
going back to the...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, going back to the Pokemon example about how, like, the physical copies are more. Like, I have paid, I bought Black not too long ago, and I paid, like, $45 for it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Josh, have you rebought a collector's edition or something in post-launch that now costs a lot? That you could have got probably for cheaper if you had just bought it at launch?
I'm pretty sure I have. I just can't think of what. But I'm fairly certain that I have. Yeah.
Not for that exact reasoning. Oh, sorry, Josh. Redone?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Sorry. I have bought collectors to games I've already owned after the fact because I wanted the stuff.
I know. I definitely did that with Fallout 4. I bought the base copy of it for Xbox One. And then we were at GameStop, and they had the Pip-Boy edition for PC. I ended up just buying it right there.
Yeah.
I remember they were even like, even they were just like, please buy it. We're trying to get rid of it. And I was like, okay.
I remember,
$5 with $10 trade credit.
The Pip-Boy edition was a weird one because I don't know what people expected. Like, when I bought it, I got what I expected. A plastic Pip-Boy and a plastic case. For what I paid, like $80 or some shit like that. What the fuck else were you expecting?
Yeah.
I hated all the cringy people who were just like, this isn't a full digital metal wrist bracelet. I was like,
of course not.
Yeah.
Like
the Bluetooth edition that did come out like years later and cost like $200. That makes more sense if the limited edition had been like $300.
Yeah, it's really a glorified phone case.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's a fucking big ass nerd boy phone case.
Yeah.
And even then, it was a shitty phone case. The foam wouldn't conform right. My phone kept falling out.
Right, yeah, it's true. They gave the little foam that's supposed to pad out every size of phone. Mm-hmm. But you know what? All the phones, especially the phones I've been buying, are so big, I don't think they'll fit in that shit at all.
Yeah,
because mine are way too... my phones are all fucking huge. But yeah, the story I was looking for was Fortnite getting an official release. Y'all remember how Fortnite was definitely different than what it ended up being? It used to be a co-op survival PvE thing.
I like that.
So they started releasing it in the Save the World is what it was called. It was almost It was originally going to be free. Epic has now since changed their mind on that, so it is going to be a paid game now. So it's going to be coming out still with the original idea of Fortnite. Huh?
I thought the original...
No, they had originally said because of the success of Fortnite, they were going to change it to the free-to-play model. It says right here in the article on The Verge.
Because I remember playing like original Fortnite, and I remember Noel had... Because Noel ended up buying like...
Oh yeah, but that shit got canceled. This is a new game.
Oh, a new game.
Save the World is not that. That turned into the Fortnite, which is the free-to-play.
I thought it was called Save the World.
Oh, I don't know. All I know is that, yeah, so... Right here, after the success of Fortnite's free-to-play Battle Royale mode, Epic had planned to make Save the World similarly free, but with today's announcement has changed it now to paid.
It's weird.
Don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a Fortnite pro. I don't really do my homework. I'm just reading what it says in the news.
Because I remember way back when, years ago, if you wanted to play Fortnite for free, it was the Battle Royale one. But you had to pay to play the PvE one. Yeah.
Don't know.
Wait, how long has Fortnite been around?
A while.
Like 10 years?
I don't know.
As long as like I don't know. It feels like almost as long as Minecraft. It feels like early beta shit. But no. But a while. Like at least over 5 years, easily. Over 5 years. If you, again, counting beta and alpha periods, over 5 years. But yeah, I don't know if Noel was giving his money to a Nigerian prince, but he also may have been buying a plane. I don't know. But they are, so a lot of people are kind of upset about that, only because with that announcement, people were expecting to be able to play it as, again, just another sub-event of Fortnite, but now they are, Epic has said, fuck that. They did say, though, how because they're going to... make it a paid-to-play game, or a paid-to-own game, or paid-to-whatever the fuck game, they are going to slow down the amount of microtransactions that are going to be in it, because now you are going to have to buy it, but they will still have roadmaps for like events and stuff like that you can get limited-time cosmetics and shit like that. So it will, of course, function on a separate schedule than Battle Royale, which was, again, another plan was to update the game simultaneously, because it was basically supposed to be a sub-mode of the Battle Royale. But now that it's going to be a full-on, its own game, so there's that. It's kind of funny that now, you would think that if Fortnite was losing money, that would be the decision they'd make, but it's actually the fact that Fortnite's made so much money, it's like now they want to double down on greed. It's weird. I don't understand the method in that. You would think that, like, hey, Fortnite worked like this, why doesn't this... I don't know, it's weird. It's interesting that Minecraft and Fortnite, and even Five Nights at Freddy's, I want to give credit where credit's due, have just become all these things where I can go to Target and just see a Five Nights at Freddy's t-shirt for like kids, or like Minecraft plushes, or Fortnite action figures. What a world we live in. Like, when we were younger, we were lucky if like Pokemon got some toys in the fucking store. Like, you just had your fucking Crash Dummies, your fucking Stretch Armstrongs, and all that shit. You had toys that were toys, and video games were video games. Unless you were super goddamn Mario, you didn't really have toys. Like, that's why Pokemon was a big deal.
I remember being excited when I would go to Target and seeing, like, action figures of Sonic or Zelda or, what was another one? Oh, like Mega Man.
Big deal.
Like, I once bought, like, a Zero action figure. Sadly, it broke, though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh.
All right,
Xbox.
Because
it's not just for kids. Like, adults know that shit, too.
They do. Right, so that Xbox event I was talking about that I was going to glaze over, I finally found a date. It's July 23rd. They're going to talk about, all these new games and stuff for Xbox Series X reveals and whatnot. So there's that. Rian Johnson, Star Warsman, director, I believe, or whatever the fuck he is. He's a director, yeah. He directed a new Pokemon Go commercial, which was stupid. I don't know why they used him, because I feel like a child could have directed that commercial. Yeah. It's a bunch of idiot kids going around and ripping the world open, and when they do, there's a Pokemon behind Zawardo. I don't fucking know. It was a stupid commercial. Zawardo. It was a 30-second waste of time, and God knows what they paid Rian Johnson to direct that. He probably didn't even remember directing that. And the kid just came out. He's probably like, who the fuck directed this piece of shit? Oh, it was me. So there's that. Before we get into the main topic, let's split this up. John, spoiler-free, your final take on Last of Us before I get to the other side of when I'm going to plug the email and talk about that. How did Last of Us go for you as it wrapped up?
Final rating, I got to give it an 8.75. Overall, the gameplay was tight, story was good. I can't speak for any of the offended communities, but I felt that what was presented was fair and not too denigrating to anyone at all. Once again, it's the apocalypse, and people are generally bad, and in the apocalypse, they can be a little worse. I wasn't disappointed with the ending personally. I know there's a lot of ire around that, but I think people should, I think people should play the game, not like just be like, oh, play the game to learn, but it's a generally good game.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jim and Laura did say that the game's pretty damn good through a majority of it, but rated the final act as the shittiest part of the game. That it just absolutely made no sense and lost the plot, and Ellie apparently just becomes this utter piece of shit for no reason towards the end.
I can understand that logic behind it. And yeah, she does kind of go off the rails.
Just change character.
But there are moments of reflections. Say again? Oh yeah. Yeah, you have to think that's another thing. Like she's kind of a reflection of Joel, but to a different extent.
I know. Without spoilers, it's hard to explain. Yeah.
I will say this though, as much content as the first two acts contained, I felt that there was some more that could have been added to the third act. The game could have been longer. Let me say that.
Yeah, apparently that's where the pacing issues were. It's like it was fine. This is pretty good. This is going well. This makes sense. A lot of weird memory hopping. A fucking character in a flashback having a flashback, which is kind of stupid. But aside that, apparently it's like fine. It kind of makes sense aside that. And then here comes the final act, and it's like, what chapter did I miss where all this went down? Like, it became World War III all of a sudden, and I don't recall when that happened.
Yeah, this is a pretty significant time jump, but I mean.
Now, here's the thing, though. Is it a perceived time jump, or is there a very clear 3 years later type of situation?
No, it's very clear, and with the fans or the people that play that I've talked to, we're assuming that there's going to be DLC fill-in.
Oh God! Oh, just kill me now. All right. Well, you know what? Since you gave it an 8.75, Naughty Dog will probably give you a review copy next time because that's the kind of shills they were looking for. I'm just kidding, dude. But
you didn't give it.
Hell yeah! Give me that free copy.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's John, and there we go. And before we get into the main topic, remember you can email us at disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. That's disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. All right. So Last of Us continues to be a raging trash fire, not in the sense that the game's like that awful, but because of the situation surrounding the game. So Neil Druckmann and Troy Baker, big butthurt boys that have been, especially as of late,
their butts are hurt.
They're really upset now because people are disrespecting the art, man. Troy Baker, who do I start with? Neil Druckmann, Troy Baker. All right, so there are fans out there who are defending that the critic who said that the game was like Schindler's List didn't say that. I'm gonna read the tweet,
even though
all y'all out there can tell me if it sounds like he said this, okay? Because the fans claim that he did not say that. Here's the tweet verbatim. Jeff Kanata said, "In a medium where everything's John Wick, The Last of Us Part 2 is Schindler's List. And just like that film, there were times when I wasn't... Wow, that's a weird typo. And there were times when I could keep going." That must be cut off. I wasn't sure I could keep going. I'm sure his English is a little bit better than that. It's a relentless emotional assault that I suspect will... yada yada, yeah, the jaded, most jaded, yeah. So even insensitive edgelords will feel emotion is basically what he said. In that quote, did I not actually say that Last of Us Part 2 is Schindler's List? Of course, the old Druckmann decided to come to that guy's aid because he gave Last of Us 2 a 10 out of 10. So must protect, right? Protect at all costs. Protect. Neil Druckmann said, "To me, it's clear that Jeff is comparing an emotional response between two pieces of media, not subject matter importance. I did not take it as a direct comparison between our game and the Holocaust itself, or even as a way to diminish the weight of that film. In a world in a medium where everything is John Wick, The Last of Us Part 2 is Schindler's List. To me, it's clear that Jeff is comparing an emotional response between the two and not correct. Yeah. So the point is, they're fucking just, I don't know, you know what I mean? And Troy Baker, known for being very defensive of his art, even when he's in not that good of a game. For example, when Arkham Asylum? Was that the last one? Arkham Knight came out. The game was obviously trash. Oh no, not Arkham Knight. Which game did Troy Baker voice the Joker?
Wasn't that Arkham Knight?
It was Arkham Knight? No, wait, Hamill came
Origins.
out. Origins.
The Origins, yeah.
Okay. So when Origins came out, Jim gave it an abysmal, a mediocre score, not even a bad one. He gave it like a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10 or some shit like that. Troy Baker took that very defensively, said that Jim Sterling was being very unprofessional and not true to his craft for giving the game such a low score, despite the fact that everyone agrees that Arkham Origin is a mediocre piece of shit. But because Jim was so vocal about it, they got into it. So it's not the first time that Jim and Troy have disagreed.
What I find funny, though, is he's only a voice actor, like...
Yeah, he's a voice actor who has a 10-foot dick, according to himself.
Yeah, I mean, like, is it Jim Sterling is just like, this game is fine until you hear that atrocious
Well, and that's exactly right. And Jim even responded, if anything, your performance was the only good one in the game.
Yeah.
But the game was shit. That's what that word, Jim's words. Exactly. To call a critic unprofessional for being critical kind of speaks for itself. Anyways, so Troy's been really mad that people are talking shit about Last of Us 2, despite the fact that 99% of the reviews are like 9 and 10s out of 10s. Because like 5 people gave it mediocre, not bad, mediocre reviews. He angry.
Yeah.
So Troy Baker took to social media and put, I'll just leave this here.
Oh yeah, the fucking
and he
Theodore Roosevelt.
Posted a screenshot of a Theodore Roosevelt quote, which apparently has to do with Last of Us 2.
Yeah, totally.
The man in the arena, which we're going to assume Troy Baker's talking about himself. The man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, Jim Sterling, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could not have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who, at the best, knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, who at it the worst, if he fails, at least fails, while daring greatly. So, that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt. Troy Baker has lost his goddamn mind. If he's comparing wartime bullshit and heroes to video game voice actors. Like, couldn't get on a TV show or a movie, so they decided to make a few funny voices. He's comparing that, and I'm so, Tara Strong, all you guys, I'm being hyperbolic because of the way Troy Baker's being very crazy about this whole situation. Back when Borderlands 3 came out and Troy Baker got kind of snubbed and didn't get offered his role back, despite the fact that Gearbox claims that they offered him the role and he turned it down because he... regardless of that, I thought Troy Baker was a bit of a victim, but now hearing a lot of his shitty attitude in several other things, even if he got screwed in Borderlands 3, hearing all this other bullshit of his pretentious nonsense, fuck Troy Baker. He's a great voice actor, but as a person, fuck him, dude.
I was gonna say, what's super cringy about that is, I'm just gonna assume Troy Baker doesn't know much about Theodore Roosevelt.
He knows nothing about it. He Googled that quote.
Yeah, because it's really cringy, considering that Theodore Roosevelt justified American imperialism off toxic masculinity and homophobia.
Yeah.
Like, well, we have to go to war because then our men will be weak and gay.
Yep.
And so, hey, let's fucking kick the Spaniards out of the Philippines and then take over the Philippines.
Yeah, pretty much. Because those gay Filipinos need to go away. That's what his mission was.
Yeah, so, kind of fuck Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, Troy, Conrad Zimmerman actually made that same joke on Podquisition, and I was laughing because...
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he didn't quite go that far into it, but talked about his shitty homophobia and
Yeah.
his imperialism basically being awful.
Oh, yeah.
So for Troy Baker to try to be noble and then quote a shitty person, hilarious.
Yeah.
Now, that's on the spectrum of stuff. Now, let's get a little more serious now. Laura Bailey has been under some duress as well.
I have heard about that.
Laura Bailey, of course, voicing... Abby.
Abby?
Oh, a spoiler's coming up, because I do have to spoil it for context. So if you haven't played much of Last of Us 2, or you're going to, avert your ears, because I'm about to... I have to say a spoiler for the context of the story. So she voices Abby, and Abby kills Joel, the cis white male hero that Troy Baker voices. So some really angry white kids were just really angry about her, and
They're not kids. Those are adult men.
Yeah, have tweeted at her.
Are they adults?
Are they adults and are they men? That's questionable. But here are some of the quotes that she's been getting on either DMs, public replies, etc., etc. These are all different people or whatever. Please don't take this audio out of context and fuck me. But here's a bunch of quotes. I will stab you. I'm going to find where you live and slaughter you for what you did to Joel. Mark my fucking words. I'm going to kill you because you something in Last of Us Part 2. No, excuse me. I misquoted everybody. Excuse me. For my journalism integrity, I'm going to reread that quote. I'm going to kill you because you beep in the Law of Us Part 2. I'm sorry. I fucked up and actually said last because I assumed this person knew how to type. Yeah. I'm going to kill you because you did in the Law of Us Part 2.
Did they actually put beep?
No, it's crossed out. It's a spoiler. So I'm going to
okay.
say kill Joel. I'm assuming it's
Right.
I hope your parents die by a hard cancer for killing my hero Joel or whatever. That's a long thing that's marked out.
Why do these people
sucking Joel's?
How dense are you to think that a voice actor
is the character? Not
just the character, but I guess also makes these decisions.
Right. Yeah.
So you're gonna voice this character. Oh, hey, is it cool if we kill this other character? Hey, you're voicing this one. Why not?
Yeah. But yeah, to finish the quote though, I hope your parents die by a hard cancer for killing whatever the fuck it said, my hero Joel or whatever. I will find you and I will kill your kid for that. Just wait for that. And then another reply. This is a public. I think those were all a lot of those were DMs. A public reply was, "Just want to say you should die, bitch. Fuck you. You ruined it."
These are just heated gamer moments.
Yeah. Yeah, according to the CEO of one of Blizzard's top dudes.
Gaming was a mistake.
It was, yeah, pretty much. So that was a heated gamer moment. Yeah, no, fuck that. Now, Laura Bailey, I feel for you. I hope nothing bad happens to you because I hope these guys are all as full of shit as they sound. Because if something does happen to her, that's going to be really fucked up. Laura Bailey's a fantastic voice actress. Now, here's the thing that bothers me about Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog, of course, has spoken up, and they said, the bullying of this is wrong. Blah, blah. I agree with this. This is really fucked up. Laura Bailey is not the character. Laura Bailey does not make the decisions for the character. And even for the people who did make the narrative decisions, this is not appropriate response to the writers, the programmers, or the voice actors. That being said, it's kind of funny that Naughty Dog decides to speak up now, but was condoning the bullying of the critics who didn't give Last of Us Part 2 perfect scores and didn't say anything when people were blasting Jim Sterling and everybody in the assholes. When that was happening, Naughty Dog was a little too busy to speak up about anything. But now that Laura Bailey's in trouble, and it does look very bad, now it's really wrong. You guys shouldn't internet bully people. Except for those who give Last of Us Part 2 a mediocre score. Fuck them. But other than that, bullying on the internet, bad. And that's kind of like how Naughty Dog's thing kind of comes off. It's like, fuck off with that, your fucking hypocritical bullshit. If you guys really meant that shit, Neil Druckmann and Troy Baker wouldn't be publicly crying that Last of Us got a few sevens. Sevens! Jim Sterling made a point that when he gives ones, fives, or anything in that spectrum, he pretty much gets some shit for it. That's not so bad. Every time he decides to give a goddamn 6 or a 7, which is decent scores, he gets lambasted by fucking publishers, developers, being called unprofessional every time he decides not to give a AAA game a perfect score.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where it's just like, this is the society we live in. We live in this society. Now, John, all that being digested, and I know some of it's probably still swimming around in your head, obviously, you don't have to think the game, because the game itself, again, is a good game. But, it's... Do you still support Troy Baker and Naughty Dog after all this, in terms of, like, you can like the game, but as far as like, the Druckmann and Troy Baker being, do you still kind of feel, because I know you used to be, or maybe you still are, a big Troy Baker fan, given his more recent transgressions, do you feel that, like, it's unfortunately, like, maybe a little harder to care about him as much?
No, not at all. Like, I can separate the artist from the art in this regard. Like, if he's gonna fucking cry about, it's like, get back in the booth, actor boy. Like, not to denigrate the profession, but it's like, dude, calm down. This guy compared to Schindler's List. Are you kidding me? And the same thing with Neil. Like, going to the defense, going to bat against that. Like, it's a game.
Yeah.
You're making art, but you're not changing the world here.
Yeah, to me, Neil Druckmann's response was very similar to that person that made I believe he was one of the original Assassin's Creed devs, and then he made that weird ape game that was awful. It was just a shitty game, and he got so mad because he was so used to these 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 scores that Assassin's Creed would get, that his game, his first endeavor as a solo artist, essentially, obviously that's hyperbole, he has his studio that he owns, but the fact that his spearheaded game sucks ass, maybe it was the team that carried him, is super angry about. That's what it reminds me of. That kind of like, you guys just don't understand high art. And that's Neil Druckmann, how he comes off as. He's really so serious. The fact that Neil Druckmann said fun is not a word that should be used to describe Last of Us Part 2. The fact that it is a intense, emotional, cathartic experience. He didn't use all those words, but that is what he was saying. And then the fact that he's so angry that not everybody agrees with me, that is perfect. It's just... How old are you, dude? Actually, how old are you, Druckmann? Let's find out.
I'll say, I heard
just
Neil
a lack
Druckmann...
of humility.
I heard Neil Druckmann put like a really weird like self-insert sex scene. I wonder if that's why he's taking everything.
Oh my god, did he? Oh shit. He's 41.
He did what now?
I heard he put in like a self-insert sex scene in Last of Us 2. Like he pretty much pulled the cage.
So it's very. I don't want to say you see it coming, but it's just very left of field. Like it's just like, did this have to happen? And then I have a lot to say about Abby's character that I don't want to offend anybody with. Like, I'm not saying anything offensive. It's just like, I feel the way they treated her character is very weird, especially given the way the spoilers happen. It all feels not planted, but I don't know. It's just there's a lot of discussion over her character.
Right, yeah. Abby seems to be one of the most controversial characters, is why Laura Bailey's getting a lot of heat for it, because obviously she kills Joel, and then on top of that, she's like this like buff girl, which a lot of people are upset about that as well, as if there's no buff women.
I've seen people that are like on Twitter where they're talking about how, there's no real women that look like that. Yeah. And so, a lot of...
what?
Huh?
He said lol what?
Oh, yeah. And so, on Twitter, they started doing this whole, like, it's just a feed of, like, very muscular women.
Well, and they even showed the lady that they based Abby's body off of.
Yeah.
Straight up just who they based it off of. Yeah, it's not like they just manufactured her. She was actually based on a certain model.
Yeah. And so, that was interesting.
That to me is one of the craziest ones.
Okay, here's my theory on why Abby is so as muscular as she is. And I honestly think it's strictly from a gameplay perspective to fit her into the narrative, but not have her paired with any other masculine character. Because if you go through the game, and now we're going to get a little spoiler here.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, everyone's on spoiler warning.
Like, even Owen, like her male counterpart, Paramore, whatever, like, he's not as fucking buff as Abby. Abby is fucking huge. Like, like Johnny was saying the other day, she looks like Bob did in high school, like a fucking caveman.
Right,
like, she's just... And there's even a point where later in the game where you get to California and Ellie's like taking out those bad guys. There's a huge, beefy, Guy Fieri looking dude, and like he hears Ellie mention Abby's name, And he's like, you said Abby, right? You know, huge girl, arms like me, and like the dude has fucking meat, like ham hocks for fucking arms.
Sure,
like,
they didn't say Martha.
But my
what's up? You say that name?
God damn it.
Sorry,
John.
No, but my theory is that like the only reason she is buff is because like in Last of Us 1, you know, you'd have Ellie set up like a trolley or something, and Joel would lift the heavy rusted gate, right?
Right. She
well,
had no
here,
opportunity to get buff.
Yeah, she's like the automatic strong character in the game. But I still feel they overdid her a little bit, because someone made a good point about how they did base the characters a lot off their life models, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Dina's actual person is a little bit bustier, right? And they reduced her bust size in the game. And someone made a good point, like, well, yeah, it's 25 years in the apocalypse. A lot of people are going to be malnourished, heights are going to be stunted, etc., right? Well, the counterpoint to that is like, well, then why is Abby so fucking ripped? Like, is she secretly injecting, you know, off camera? Like, we don't get to see that?
Yeah. Well,
Right.
it could be the prison thing where she has nothing better to do but to work out.
They do include that. There is a part where in one of the flashbacks, she's like, I benched 185 today, which is pretty fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that's your max or your set. So yeah, they do touch on that. But it's like she's just a little bit too fucking buff.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it could all be genetics, you know. But yeah,
I don't know. I remember
she's a
some
monster.
characters
Like,
in,
she's
the
fucking
Matrix being pretty
dude.
ripped.
Oh, sorry, Josh.
Oh no. Go on ahead, and then I'll kind of go.
Oh yeah, just the last thing though, to wrap it up, like how fucking much of a beast Abby is. She's fucking like punched. You can kill a clicker. Like, she can punch clickers to death.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's great. It's fucking cool. I love Abby. Like, Abby's a fucking dope character. I hope she's the protagonist in part 3. I would love to play more of her and hear love story too. Like, I want to see how that pans out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway, that's my Abby take.
Yeah, I forget there's zombies, or supposed to be zombies in that game. I mean, that kind of makes me wonder about like other media, because like in the Matrix, you know, when they're in the real world or whatever, that shithole, there's some pretty ripped dudes in there.
Yeah, I think the problem with comparing two stuff to be like, I think the problem with saying realistic, whether it's a video game or a movie,
you have to keep in mind.
Like, think about how many movies, TV shows, video games you play where the person doesn't shit or piss, or even eat.
Yeah. I mean,
How realistic is realistic?
I would think in a post-apocalyptic setting, it's totally justifiable to have a character that is going to be, you know, built. Because, I mean, shit, you're in a fucking, you know, survival mode, you know.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I mean, with another... Oh, sorry. I mean, did you...
No.
Yeah,
and then I would end up just going into, like, this big, like, rabbit hole, because then it's like, well, what does the lore show what their diet is like?
Right.
You know, what exactly is their protein intake in Last of Us 2?
Yeah, and then of course the other controversial. We talked about this a little bit when you started the game, John. But one of the biggest pieces of controversial thing there is the other character, the trans character. What was their name?
Lev.
Okay.
Lev is the trans.
And the problem that people had is that they were like, it's nice that they tried to put a trans character in there. But the problem is the trans character always suffered any tragedy only because they were trans, which kind of diminished the character's value. Yeah. Not to mention they're the only minor in the game, so it's also child abuse and trans abuse. And it almost seemed like the team didn't understand. Yes, trans violence does happen, unfortunately. We see it in the news all the time, especially a lot of black trans dying right now. It happens. However, in a narrative-driven thing where everyone is so complex and fleshed out so well, this person is just always having to be reminded with no real expansion on anything else other than trans, right? You're trans, right? Trans. You're gonna get because you're trans.
Like, there's no depth to Lev. Like, I like Lev as a character, but we know nothing about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so like in this fictional world, these other characters suffer in ways that, you know, you may not. Oh, I don't know what it's like to lose a loved one to a zombie, right? But in regards to Lev, because I haven't played the game, but I've like seen the whole cutscenes just to kind of understand what the criticism is, which I do agree with. That criticism is that all of that character's suffering is too close to home for a lot of people.
Yeah, it becomes it becomes almost devalued because it's almost like Naughty Dog just slapped on a Bronze You Tried little sticker on it, and it was just like, I mean, we threw one in there, right? We threw a trans in there, right? I mean, isn't that good enough? And the problem is it wasn't, because you attempted and then you did a bad job. It almost would have been better if you just didn't.
Yeah. Like, you could have had a trans character in there where everybody just accepted them for who they are.
Or maybe suffered equally as much violence as everybody else.
Right.
Instead of extra.
Like, they're not suffering because of their identity, but rather because of everything that's going on in the world.
Beat her for being a girl! And it's like, no, that was not why.
Yeah, but, like, the whole thing was just based off of who Elliot, or who Lev is.
Yeah, which, that was the issue that a lot of people had to clarify that, just because I think there's some people who are just, like, still wondering what the big deal was with Lev, and I'm kind of like, I get it, you're a cis white male who doesn't understand this. To me, I just wanted to point that out, because I'm just trying to explain to the cis white male why this is a problem. Because the problematic is, imagine, right, you have a game, Burger King Boy, and you're a cis white male cashier. And then you're going through your shitty day at your shitty job. You go outside, and then they beat you because you're a little white kid. Then you get home, and your stepdad is like some big minority guy, and then he beats you because you're a white kid. You see now why that kind of gets like really poorly handled now, because they just keep going because you're the little white kid. And it's just like, yeah.
It's like you have to see the same type of suffering over and over.
Exactly. For a dumb reason.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, trans violence is real, unfortunately.
And for some people who do see video games as an escape, and then they're just seeing that.
Yes.
You know. Yeah.
Okay.
The criticism towards it, I definitely agree with. It was a bit...
Yeah.
So, that's I'm glad you guys, explain that a little bit, because that's what we assumed. Me and my friends that played it, like, it was insensitive the way that Lev was portrayed, and that it was like triggering, like using that not done, casually, actually was triggering because because like that's the kind of shit that the trans community faces, even from their own like families. Like there's to get spoilery again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Spoilers. Lev, there's a certain part where your sister's Lev's sister is telling him not to go back because his mom's just going to try and kill him because his mom's brainwashed, right? By the cult. But Lev goes back anyway because Lev doesn't want his mom to get punished for them running away. And what ends up happening is that Lev ends up having to kill his mom because his mom fucking attacks him.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. And again, attacked because they're trans, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
And the only reason I wanted to bring that up, this wasn't supposed to. If it came out this way to the audience or you, this wasn't a fucking Grill John segment. This was just, I wanted to clarify some things, because I remember when your first impressions of the game, you did kind of mention Lev a bit without wanting to be spoilery, and you talked about the controversy and kind of just how you understood it at that time. So I just wanted to put a bit more explanation, because unfortunately a lot of shitty social media do see it as being too sensitive, or some people even went as far as to say, well, what do you want, right? You guys want inclusion, then you get included and you cry about it. There's a little fucking snowflake about the fact that you're lucky they put one of y'all in there. And that's not the point. The point is that you did try, but it was poorly handled, right? If you insert a black character or an Asian character in a form of media and you shoehorn them in there, and then you do it really badly, to the point where, like, say you shoehorn this black character into a movie, then you hang him with a noose. You see what I'm saying, right? It's that kind of insensitivity. It's that kind of insensitivity that's the problem.
I was gonna bring up an example. Have y'all seen Get Out?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen Get Out, but I know how it ends, apparently.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know.
John, do you care about
spoilers? I know it ends. No spoilers. Like, I know. I looked, I read the wiki, I should say.
Okay, so spoiler alert for the listeners then. Yeah. But Get Out.
So apparently at the end of Get Out, there's a lot of suspense because the cop car shows up, and then it's like, oh, great, survivor, black man, a bunch of dead white people, police.
Gonna get...
and then when the ending is that he helps him rather than, he doesn't shoot him or he doesn't arrest him or anything like that. Because Yeah, had it ended like that would have been really fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what people don't understand. You have people that are going to be like, no, that would have been a dope ending because it would have been like a political social commentary that black people do get killed by the police. It's like, yeah, but that's also just playing into stereotypes and just, of course he's going to get killed because, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Like, there's certain films where you kind of have to be reminded of the grim reality.
Yes.
Like, I remember I was talking to one of my cousins about Black Klansman. Has anybody... I know you haven't.
How is that?
It's good. Apparently there's some problematic things about the guy that it's actually based off of. But, as a film, it's pretty good. There's a lot of good tension in it.
Mm-hmm.
However...
Is that the Adam Driver one? Sorry.
Yeah, Adam Driver is in it.
Okay.
So at the end of the film, though, it cuts to showing, like, the riot at Charlottesville, you know, where all the white supremacists were there, and then when that one woman was killed after being ran over by that car. So it shows a lot of that. Of course, the purpose being that, hey, this movie took place decades ago, but this is still a problem going on. And I remember my cousin was talking about how he didn't like that ending. He's like, I don't know, like, it just hit too close to home. And I was like, well, that's kind of the point.
Yeah,
like,
that was the intention of that.
Yeah, you're supposed to feel uncomfortable.
And that's the thing. So, in conclusion, it's about balance, right? You can include a character, but be very careful how you do it. You know, I say in conclusion, but I did want to give this example because it does work out very well. Sweary, for example. In Deadly Premonition 1, there's a trans character that is handled very poorly. Very poorly. And Sweary did get some flack from, you know, the community, but rather than pull a Druckmann and Baker and get mad, Sweary realized that he wanted to be better. Mm-hmm. And so when J.J. Macfield and the Missing, there's a long ass more to that title, but J.J. Macfield and the Missing came out, it was surrounding, again, the main protag this time, not even just an important character, but the main protag this time was a trans character. And he consulted tons of the community and had people on speed dial to ask that when he executed certain parts or scenes in that game, is this accurate? Yeah. Is this insensitive? And I understand not everyone's going to have their little... Because, you know, people get military consultants for movies and stuff, right? And I understand not everyone's going to get their little trans consultant, like, team for doing a trans character. I know that, you know, Naughty Dog thought they knew what they were doing. Yeah. But the point being is, you got to really balance sometimes just not going there if you don't know how to go there.
Yeah. So. I kind of also didn't just want to leave that because I don't want somebody to hear what I said and then try to
go ahead.
argue. Yeah, when I said that film is supposed to make you uncomfortable, putting into context, Black Klansman is based off history and problems that we're still facing now. Yeah. Last of Us Part 2 and Get Out are fiction.
Right, fair. Good. I'm glad that you... Like, does anyone else have anything else they want to tie up before I do the old outro? Good?
No.
Nobody has any regretful words? I mean, I quoted all those tweets. I hope people don't take that out of context, so,
right.
God damn it. That was the thing. I really did consider not...
Disconnected cats out of context.
Yeah.
Violation.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, Wooly quotes out of context is hilarious. I can only hope that would be a thing one day in a funny manner, but not with those tweets that are read. Anyways, and that also is why I kind of make voices for emphasis and to be funny, is just because obviously I don't talk like that normally, so it also helps with that. But anyways... Right. Other than that, we will catch you guys every Monday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And until then, we will see you guys then. Hopefully Mallory will be back. And then we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.